Hey, welcome to Father in Our Future, the podcast for dads. I'm Anthony Vandagriff, and I'm not the perfect dad, but every day I am trying to be better. But you know just as well as I do that that's sometimes easier said than done, because we don't only get to focus on being a better dad every day. There's a lot of other things that happen every single day that demand our time and our attention and our focus. There's just always something that needs to be done, especially if you're a homeowner. Man, I remember when my wife and I moved from our apartment into our first home, all of the warnings of the men who came before me who said there's always something that's going to need fixing. That stuff came to pass. Let me tell you, if you own a home, you know exactly what I mean. There's always something that needs to be done, but it's not just in the home. There's a lot outside of the home. This just continual, ongoing, unending list of madness because of the fast pace and the busyness of life that we experience. There's work, and I'm just going to leave that there because I don't want to cause you any trauma on this episode. But there's work, and then there's financial decisions that we have to make. And then there's our health and our well-being, and it's not just yours, but it's your beautiful wife's, and it's also your children. And remember, they have this superpower where they manage to get sick all the time, so that's always fun to deal with. And then you have your extended family and their drama, and somehow that drama finds its way into your household sometimes, and there's just so much that you have to deal with. There's so much that comes at you from all these different directions. The chaos grows and compounds, and this mountain, this maddening mountain of chaos just floods your life and so easily morphs into stress and anxiety. And the sad side effect of anxiety is unnoticed time. People who deal with anxiety often feel like time flies. And the reality is time is not going any faster than it ever has. It ticks away second by second, just as it always has done. The problem is we're just not paying enough attention to time. But when you're inundated with the busyness of life, it's very easy. And often it is the direct result of anxiety that you just don't realize what else is going on because you're so fixated on everything that you're dealing with and all the potential things that might happen that likely never will happen. You're so focused on that what is happening right in front of you, you miss. And I know what this is like. I know what it's like to get through a year and to look back and think, I have no idea what we even did this year. I know what it's like to have a buddy ask me on a Tuesday what I did yesterday and be like, I thought it was October. Like, I don't know. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I think we've all been at this point in life at some time or another where we are stressed, we are overwhelmed, we're dealing with anxiety, and we're missing out on the time that we want to be experiencing. Now, I don't want us to get to the end of our life to look back and just have regrets, to think I should have done this and I should have done that. And now that I can actually stop for a moment because I'm here at the end, I realize that there was a lot right in front of me that I missed. And this is the side effect of anxiety, unnoticed time. And I want to help you with that. Now, first, I want to share something that I have to give credit to my wife about. She is smart and always trying to grow intellectually and academically. So she's always reading, and that's a wonderful trait. She's not just stunningly beautiful. She's caring and loving, and she's ever so gracious to me. But I love the fact that she likes to share what she's reading and learning about with me. We have conversations about this stuff frequently. And I know it takes her 10 times longer to get through a book, but I think she enjoys it when I'm sitting next to her while she's reading. She always wants to share with me. But the other night I walked into the bedroom and she was listening to an audiobook and she was writing something down on her phone that she was listening to. And so I asked her because I thought if she thinks this is worth writing down, it's got to be good because she's a smart gal. So she told me and I thought, this is actually really interesting because she had no idea what I was preparing to talk about for this week on the podcast. But this is what she shared with me. This is from Bessel van der Kolk. He's a psychiatrist, the author of the book, The Body Keeps the Score. And this is what he wrote. If an organism is stuck in survival mode, its energies are focused on fighting off unseen enemies, which leaves no room for nurture, care, and love. For us humans, it means as long as the mind is defending itself against unseen attacks, our closest bonds are threatened, along with our ability to imagine, plan, play, learn, and pay attention to other people's needs. Some pretty important things as a father to be able to do. Just to wrap that up in layman's terms, we get so consumed with worrying about and preparing for the possibility of things that might happen that we actually miss the events happening right in front of us. The hypothetical trumps the reality. The what ifs get in the way of the things that actually are taking place. And this is why we look back and we have no idea what happened. This is why it feels like time is going so fast. Now, if this has resonated with you, if you're thinking to yourself, shut up because I hate the way that my life is going right now, I've been there and I'm with you and I want to help you. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know. Obviously, you've got to change. And there's things that you can do. You can learn to say no. That's really helpful. You can start to declutter your home and get rid of the stuff that you think, you know what, I might use that once or twice in the next 10 years. Just throw it away or donate it. That's always a good alternative. Declutter your home. Try to wake up at the same time every day. Try to set a schedule. Try to control your time the best that you can. Organize your life. But the most important thing, and the first thing that you need to do if you want to take back this unnoticed time that anxiety steals from you, the secret, the not so secret rather, is gratitude. You've got to start being thankful. If you will do that, I promise you, it's a game changer, because when you express your gratitude, when you express your thankfulness, you're actually preparing yourself for the day. You're setting yourself up. You're framing who you are going to be by acknowledging the things that matter most to you, the things that are most valuable, the things that you were thankful for, the things that are the most important things in your life. I think about what I'm thankful for. When I personally express my gratitude, I do this through prayer. And I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful for my wife and for my marriage. I'm thankful for my children. I'm thankful for my health and the fact that I have a fully functioning body. All of my senses work. I can experience just about anything that I want to experience. I'm thankful for all of those things. And those are the things, honestly, that matter the most to me. And I'm grateful for that. And there's all these other things that get thrown to the mix. I go outside some days and you look at the sky and it's just this beautiful tapestry, this masterpiece on this canvas that's just ever changing and always breathtaking. And God's put it there. And it's just there for us to see and to take in. Stuff like that causes me to just be thankful for his goodness and for what he does. It's just like, this is just like additional grace that we don't necessarily need, but he gives it anyway, because that's the kind of God that he is. I have a lot that I can be thankful for. And when I'm thankful, I shape my perspective so that regardless of what comes my way during the day, doesn't mean I can't have a bad day. But I'm at the place where I realize that there's so much good that has happened to me. There's so much good that's taking place right now in this moment. And there's so much good that I know is coming that no matter how much bad actually comes my way, it's never going to tip the scale. I will always have more good in my life than bad. And I believe that that's the case for you too. And I think you'll see that if you'll start to express your gratitude. Now, maybe you are not religious when you're listening to this podcast. That's okay. Now, maybe you don't pray and say thank you. Maybe you don't express gratitude. That's okay. You've got to start. And here's where you start. Make a list. Start by making a list of 3 to 5 things. And this ought to be super easy, because you have God, you have your wife, you have your kids, you have your health, you have a home that you're probably in, you have a vehicle that you get to drive, you have relationships, you have friends, you have family. There's a few things that you can write on that list that should get you to 3 to 5 things. That ought to be pretty easy to do. And then for the next few days, add at least 1 thing a day to that list. Get a list of at least 10 things. You want 10 items on your list minimum. If you want to make the list bigger, more power to you. But create your list. And every morning when you wake up, read your list. Read the things that you are thankful for. Here's what gratitude does, what being thankful does, and this is what I want you to remember. Gratitude creates awareness, and awareness prompts involvement, and involvement amplifies your time. Gratitude creates awareness. When you start to say, I'm thankful for, you have to become aware of what that actually is. And you have to unpack that. You don't get to give this shallow, I'm thankful for life. No, you actually build that. Why am I thankful for life? Well, because I get this in life and because I have this in my life. I'm thankful for God, not just because I'm supposed to say that, but I'm thankful for God because I realize where I've been and He still accepts me. That's a big thing to be thankful for. The same thing can apply to my wife. I realize things that I've done. I realize my brokenness, and she's still okay sharing a bed with me, being in a relationship with me, wanting to partner with me in parenting. She's still okay with that. And it's a big thing that I can be thankful for. You have to unpack it. So gratitude creates awareness. And when you become aware of these things that are just wonderful blessings in your life, it prompts involvement. You want to be involved and you want to be engaged in whatever that is or with whoever that is. When I think about my kids and I think about how wonderful they are and I have awareness of them, they're my focus and they're my attention. And I want to be involved in them because I realize I've got so many great memories with them. There's going to be so many more ahead of me. I've got to be involved if I'm going to have those. And what's great is when you actually get involved and you're there in the moment, time is amplified because you might have a 2 to 3 minute game that you play with your kid, but the emotions that you feel and everything that's a part of that moment, it's going to take you 5 to 10 minutes to actually share that with your spouse or with a buddy. Hey man, me and my son were doing this the other day, and it's just this big story of just how wonderful you felt. And your time, it's amplified. Time didn't go slower. You didn't get more time in this moment than you would have at any other moment without being grateful. But because you had gratitude and because you got this awareness of how wonderful life is, and that prompted involvement, that time is just so much bigger and so much better than it was before. And here's the beautiful thing about gratitude is that it's cyclical. So let me tell you a little bit about today. I was trying to prepare from this podcast because I was kind of struggling to wrap my head around how I wanted to deliver this and where I wanted to go exactly. And I told my wife, I was like, I need to go up to the coffee shop. Just give me an hour or so to just get my head together. So she was putting the baby to sleep. I put my daughter Reagan to bed, and my son Frankie was out in the backyard playing. He just had a great day today. He's got a Joe Dirt farmer's tan. It's iconic. It's wonderful. Anyway, he was out there, and I gave him some tips on basketball. I'm trying to teach him a thing or two there. So he's destined to be in the NBA. But I was giving a tip or two on basketball and talking to him about being outside, and just I was there with him for 3 to 5 minutes, just talking to him. Before I left, I gave him a hug. I told him that I loved him. I was proud of him. Told him goodbye. Walked inside, grabbed my stuff. 3 minutes later, I'm walking out to the car in the driveway, and we have a gate that goes through the driveway from the backyard. And I have the car on, rolled the window down because Frankie came to the gate. He opened the gate up. He smiled. He waved. Told me he loved me. And he didn't have to do that because we had already had that exchange. But for whatever reason, that kid loves me more than I can comprehend. And he wanted to tell me one more time that he loved me and to tell me goodbye. And I drove away. I almost felt like I had tears in my eyes because in that moment I just realized how blessed I am. And that's the thing about gratitude is that it's cyclical. I was involved with my son, and I just had this amplified moment of time where I was just in the backyard on our little bitty concrete pad that we have, trying to show him just things he could do with basketball, just talking to him, just taking some extra time to be intentional with him. And that moment felt so big, and it felt big to him too. So big that he had to tell me one more time that he loved me. He had to tell me one more time, bye, Daddy. See you when you get home. And I drove away just with a smile on my face throughout the neighborhood. This is the beautiful thing about gratitude, is it changes things. There's a reason that the Apostle Paul talks about this in the Bible. He writes in Thessalonians that this is the will of God, that you were thankful in all things, not just good things, but bad, the happy and the sad. You know how the song goes, that you were thankful in all things. Paul writes about this again in Philippians chapter 4, and starting in verse 6. I love what he says here. He says, be anxious for nothing. He doesn't deny that anxiety is just a myth, that anxiety isn't real. He's not saying that There are plenty of things that he understood you could be anxious about. But instead, he says this: don't be anxious about anything. Instead, bring your prayers and your petitions with thanksgiving, with thankfulness. With thankfulness, bring your prayers to God. And this is what happens. The peace of God that transcends understanding will guard your heart and your mind. When you're thankful and you're thinking on the things that are good, things that are lovely, things that are virtuous, you're thinking about the good things, what you find in life is peace from God that doesn't even make sense. Life is crazy. Life is chaotic. That's the thing. Gratitude doesn't get rid of whatever you're dealing with. Gratitude doesn't make work easier, per se. Gratitude doesn't give you the money that you're hoping you have. But gratitude brought to God will result in you having peace that doesn't make sense in your circumstance, but you will have a calm about you, and you'll be able to make it through. So remember this: gratitude creates awareness. Awareness prompts involvement, and involvement amplifies time. So let's be grateful. Let's be thankful, dads. This is Fathering Our Future, the podcast for dads. I'm Anthony Vandagriff. Thank you so much for being with me, and I hope you will join me next time. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, don't be shy. Please connect with Fathering Our Future on social media and become a part of the community that values fathers, that aims to help men love being dads and to help dads be better dads every day so that together we can better father our future.